Welcome to Sports and Touring, and yes, you saw the right title and thumbnail. We have taken delivery of the all-new Ford Mustang Mach-E. And if you've been following the channel for a while, you'll know that, yeah, I placed an order for one pretty much as soon as they were released, but unfortunately, due to what's happened in the world over the last year, I had to cancel that order. I explain all the reasons why in an earlier video, so we'll leave a link in the description and you can check it out there. What's really cool about this is our first ever press car.
Yeah, this is really exciting. First press car, and at the same time as we hit 3,000 subscribers. That's all down to you guys, so thank you so much for keeping up with the channel, for really engaging with us so that we have a great community. That's given us the opportunity like this. So even though we're still a relatively small channel, we're getting the opportunities to have a press car like that Mustang Mach-E behind us.
What we're going to do now is hit the road to go to Caffeine Machine, a hub of the motoring community.
Yeah, so it's going to be really interesting to see what the other car enthusiasts actually think of this car. But before we do that, let's check out a few of the specifications that's on this specific car.
So the model we have on loan is the all-wheel drive standard range.
So this car has got 269 PS, but the more impressive number, as it's all electric, is the torque figure, which is 580 Newton meters. That's going to really help its low down grunt, and because it's got more torque than power, it hasn't got the greatest top speed, which is 111. But obviously this car isn't designed to be like your top speed sports car. This is more of a nice cruiser in the city that can get up to the speed limit relatively quickly when you need it to. It does a 0 to 60 in 6.3 seconds. Now that's without rollout. If you use the rollout system, then it's closer to 5.5 seconds. 6.3 seconds for what the car is completely respectable. The combined energy consumption for this car is 19.5 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. The efficiency rating of this car is A+. Now that sounds really good. I remember when I got that in GCSEs, my mom was proud of me.
I was proud too.
She was proud as well, so that must be good. So those are some pretty impressive figures on this car, with a £46,000 base price, and with this specific paint option, it's £47,000. But we've got to thank Gates of Harlow Ford for allowing us to film here. And this was actually where Dad was meant to pick up his car, so it's kind of interesting seeing the car in the colour that he ordered it in, outside of the dealership that he ordered it to collect. It's kind of like we're almost getting that day.
It's almost like a collection day, kind of bittersweet at the same time. But for me, the real buzz is the fact that this is our first press car. Like, a channel of our size normally wouldn't even get close to something like that. So obviously the things that we've been doing have clearly impressed someone, and well, hopefully we can do him proud. Okay, so we're going to head off to Caffeine Machine to meet up with our friends StefABtv and Cars with Brad. But before we do, I think we should just jump into the car and check out some of the interior details. It really just does feel like a proper luxury car.
Yeah, it really does feel luxurious in here, you know. It's got vegan leather, so it's not actual leather, leatherish material everywhere. And there's no like proper like real plastic in too many places. Like everywhere that's like in your eye lining you can touch, there's all this really nice soft leather. And we can't move past these massive screens. So we can't really move past these screens because these things are just in your face and they're awesome. You've got the 10.5 inch display on the dash, that's like your up front display, and you've got this 15.5 inch mega display, I like to call it, right here with this awesome tactile volume knob that's like permanently there. I love that, but it just feels so good because like the way technology is moving these days, it's all on a screen, and when you're driving it's nice to still have a few tactile buttons. So that is really nice. But yeah, I absolutely love this interior. Fake carbon needs to go, but you can just do that yourself. I love the fact it's got a black headliner. I really like it. I think it just makes the car feel a lot more spaceship, and all you've got to do is just look forwards. I'm not a fan of like the grey headliners in cars. I really think, obviously it makes the interior brighter and more open, but I just think it's a bit, I don't know, it doesn't look as new. This makes you feel like, even though it's a family SUV for the city, it makes you feel like you're in something special, you know?
Yeah.
Like supercars and stuff have the black headliner.
For the one that I ordered, it had the glass roof, which I would have preferred.
I love the glass headliner, but obviously everything around that would still be black, wouldn't it?
It would indeed, yeah, and that still looks very, very cool. Some of the interesting features here, you've got a wireless charger for your phone, you've got a USB-C and standard USB plugs.
In the front and in the back. It's got the adaptive cruise control, the lane keeping assist, the active collision avoidance. It's really cool, all the technology they've packed into this.
We've had a little bit of time in the car so far. Seriously, I mean, I think it's a nice place to be.
Alright, that's enough talk, that's enough talk. We're going to be late otherwise. So let's get on the road so we can head off to Caffeine Machine.
We are now on the road to meet up with a few other car enthusiasts at service station, which is the place you do such things. And then we're all going to head on a convoy up to Caffeine Machine. And I'm really curious to see what people's initial reactions to the car will be. So we've just arrived at the meeting point with the other car enthusiasts, all heading to Caffeine Machine. We've thrown the Mach-E on charge because by the time we got here, it was down to about 79%. We started with 100% this morning, but as we've got another long drive ahead of us, we thought we'd just throw it on. Which is a bit of a shame because it's away from all the other car enthusiasts, but let's go and have a look at what they brought along. So I've just bumped into Brad of Cars with Brad and also the very mega The Supercar Lifestyle Instagram page, which is massive now. It's like, what, 400,000 followers. And you came here today in...
The F8 Tributo. To be honest, this has actually kept me on my toes because the weather's been so shocking. The rear just wants to go every time. So yeah, I might not survive today.
I would say we'd have a little bit of a Ford v Ferrari. I don't think I'm going to quite compete. So next time, Ford, drop me a GT and then we'll be able to keep up with Brad. But for today, I've got the Mach-E. Don't know if you've seen it yet. Have you seen one before?
You're all over, spin round. You're all the way over there.
Yeah, the car meets here and I'm over there charging. But then I didn't have to go to a petrol station on my way here. So that's the plus side. So I've just bumped into Stef of StefABtv, who organises this Caffeine Machine run. How's it going?
Yeah, it's going good, mate. It's going good. I'm glad we've lucked out on the weather because it's been an absolute torrential downpour the last few days, but it's always good to get people together and yeah, no, it's going to be a good run.
And normally I'm in a slightly louder car, but this time I'm in a car that is definitely the quietest here.
Yeah, because you're in the Mach-E Mustang, aren't you?
I am indeed. Whereas Stef came here with Brad in the F8.
I mean, that car in itself is absolutely bonkers, but if you're talking about who's saving the planet more, I think Anthony's doing that. Greta Thunberg's going to be all over us.
Right, so we've just got here to Caffeine Machine, parked up here on the grass above where most of the other cars are parked and where the cafe is just there. And the funny thing is, just there in the background is a Ford Mustang 5-litre V8 GT.
One of the things I think people don't understand about the Mach-E is that the point of the Mach-E isn't to replace the Mustang, it isn't the new Mustang, it's expanding the Mustang range into more than one vehicle. So instead of the Mustang being a car, it's a brand, an umbrella brand over a number of different cars. And a lot of manufacturers have used the sort of saleability of SUVs to protect their brand because SUVs just sell in large numbers. But I think what's interesting is maybe looking at some of the design similarities between the Mach-E and the Coupé V8.
Yeah, so the first one that I noticed really was right here on the bonnet. You've got these ridges along it that really give it that muscle car feel, and a lot less aggressive, albeit they've still got that on the bonnet of the Mach-E. And even with these headlights, these straights here, it's kind of got a slightly similar shape, but different enough, and the general shape of the grille has kind of like been enlarged. And this one's in a very similar colour, which makes it even easier to compare. The main similarity that I've noticed from the jump definitely has to be these rear tail lights. These three lines going down is the biggest similarity across them.
What are your first impressions?
Yeah, I mean, I think I quite like the look of this car. I particularly like the front. The front for me is quite elegant. I'm still not necessarily sold on the rear of it. It has too much of an old Mustang feel. I do like the inside though. I do think the interior is really nice. The touchscreen is nice and massive, very intuitive at the same time. And yeah, I mean, it's nippy too. I mean, there was points when we were driving down here where we were trying to overtake you, and part of me was like, well, this should be really easy, but actually no, there was a lot of punch to this. So yeah, no, it's a good little car, that. Okay, what's the range been like?
It's 107 miles from our house to Beaconsfield to here. I think we've got another 70 miles or 60 miles left on it. We'll have to charge it again.
This range is much more for like the city driving, where they're not going to be doing those miles, where they sell the extended range version, which has an extra like 100 miles on top. So we could have done this whole journey back and forth.
And now we've been joined by this man here, Brad. Hey, I heard that, that you thought you'd be able to get past me a little easier than you did. But
Yeah, this thing goes, doesn't it?
But the funny thing is, it doesn't feel like it's going because there's no noise. And
It's
this
weird.
It's the oddest thing, and I think this is why so many EVs have gone for like big acceleration numbers, because you're kind of almost making up for the lack of noise, the lack of sense of speed.
It's
So you
like
have
putting a sock down your pants.
So there's no noise at all?
No, in the settings you can turn on, it's called like propulsion sound, so it's meant to have like a little like as you like go accelerate, but it's very quiet to the point where the road noise kind of overtakes it.
I think it looks good actually. Why is there numbers on the
pin code.
You've got multiple ways to get into this car. You can use the key, you can use an app on your phone, or if you've lost both of those, or you want to give it to like a valet or someone, you can give them the code and they can open the car with the code. If we just open this up.
I like this. It's nice and clear as well, isn't
So
it?
yeah, so these are the different driving modes. So active, like adjust it as you drive. Whisper is like whisper's the most normal mode, and then untamed is like where it gives you full beans.
It's the untamed pony, right?
Yeah, exactly. All of this stuff down here, if you want to look at it, so you want to look at tyre pressures, you swipe it up and then it goes to the main bit of the screen. So if you wanted to look at that and then you wanted to see more like diagnostics of your trip and stuff, it throws all that information up and you've got your different trip computers. So yeah, it's like, I don't know, I just really like it.
I like that. I like it.
Yeah, it's
I do
nice.
actually like it. The more I'm like looking around, yeah, okay, there's a few plastic, but it's 40 grand. You've got to remember, it's the price point here is going for the masses. Do you know what? I like this. I like it a lot.
So that's pretty much us done here at Caffeine Machine now. It's been really interesting getting people's opinions on the car. But we've actually had most people who we've talked to about it really like it and say they like the styling, they really like the interior. And make sure you go and check out all the guys we've been hanging out with today, Stef and Brad. Their channels will be in the description below. Make sure you guys check out Caffeine Machine as well, because it's an absolutely awesome place to go and hang out with friends and other people in the car community. It's an awesome place. If you guys have enjoyed this video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon, choose all notifications, and we'll see you guys next time on Sports and Touring.